It says we're live now. Huh? Look at you. It says we're live there. Boom.
Not bad.
Boom, boom, boom. It got you right there, you see. A bit of a lag, but at least it's there. So I think it's fantastic. So I think we're gonna go in. Okay. Just unmute there. I just want to hear if people can hear. Lufefe?
Oh. Adjusting on the feedback. That's okay, won't be any feedback. Oh. Adjusting on the feedback. That's okay, won't be any feedback.
Then mute now. It's fine.
Oh.
Fantastic. Okay, then you can frame. I think you are we good on frame? So you can hear yourself on these ones.
Devices showing, both your shoulders are showing.
Yeah, I'm gonna remove the water because I want Nello, please take this. I want us to have this thing. Where are we? Broadcast list. So copy. So take a bit of water. I think the water can be here. I want. Let's see. Then from time to time we'll have a water. The name of your company is the Kitchen Compost.
The Compost Kitchen.
The Compost Kitchen. I'm saying the Kitchen Compost. Okay, so what I normally do is that I also send out to the people to tell them we are live.
Okay.
We are live on YouTube. Oh, I thought you put my mic down. You come in a bit. Yeah, you cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I look at you, right?
Yeah. No, you can look into the camera. We can.
Okay.
I think it's just going to be very flexible, so we can just be natural and talk to people. I'm just going to post a few things now as I send it out, and let me see. Paste.
You sound amazing. You're in radio, right?
No, I'm not.
You used to be.
Never.
Okay.
I did media training though in at Accenture, so I think it's one of those things that are very beneficial when it comes to going into a corporate that knows what they're doing, and a corporate big enough that it's global and it takes you to a level of greatness. So Accenture is one of those organizations that have really done that and shaped my career and shaped how I do things. So I'm a public speaker, I'm an MC, and I do different things on for different clients. But men can multitask. I'm talking and typing. I'm finding it very super difficult. Okay, cool stuff. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna go into YouTube as well. Lufefe, how's the sound? Are we recording? Not recording yet. Okay.
Fantastic.
Sound is fantastic.
Yep.
We're gonna go into our T-Junction space.
Just not seeing the interface there. Are we live?
We are live. We've got 3 people that are joining us on the thing.
All right. I'm getting your background music as well.
You're getting our background music. This is for T-Junction. We're about to start. I'm with Himka Singh, and my name is Tabo.
Okay, hold on. Let me just record.
Fantastic. We're going to start recording now. We'll start in a minute. This is T-Junction, Tabo Makama, and we are also live on YouTube, making sure that no one misses this thing. We've got individuals. If you've got questions, please do type the questions so that we are able to get those questions and get to talk to you. Conversations that we are pushing are always around entrepreneurship and conversations that we always go into empower individuals and grow how things are set up for those that are starting in business, for those that have been in business, and for those that, in many instances, fear to go into business. So we are very thankful to always try and find spaces and find individuals that are willing to give us the conversations to also get into our space. And as you can see, those that are on the YouTube live, and I see the numbers are increasing, and very much looking forward to this conversation. Mr. Himka, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me, Tabo and T-Junction. I'm really glad to be here.
Fantastic. I'm excited, and I think we're doing the YouTube live for the first time, and I think the conversation is going to be heated. As you can see, those that are on YouTube, the iCompost device is here. So Himka has shown me how to press and how to do things. So if you can see, it has a way of opening. Himka, you do the so that's how the iCompost. It's got a magic touch. So we're going to learn a lot about composting, and we're going to learn about how to do the business of composting. At what point does it get to be a very commercially sound business? For me, as I said to Himka, coming in and seeing the product itself is just amazing, and I'm able to now identify how a entrepreneur is also a inventor. You know, we always talk about entrepreneurship, but we don't talk about inventors who are entrepreneurs, because now coming up with something like this also now brings you that angle of saying, are you creating something which is fit for purpose? So this is Tabo Makama, and I'm your host for T-Junction, and as you know, we are broadcasting live from Midrand, and I'm here with my guest Himka Singh, and we're also on YouTube live. If you want the stream, just check on YouTube and Google T-Junction Tabo Makama, and you will see the visuals from there. Himka, welcome to T-Junction, and tell us a little bit about yourself, man. 30 under 30. You're making me feel old, my man. Yes, see. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where you from? You know, where did you go? High school, varsity? So our guests can get to know you a little bit. Libza, I see you. Zipporah, and those that are joining us. Venetia, my boss, I call you. I see you on T-Junction, and we see the other 11 plus participants that are coming in on YouTube Live. Thank you very much. Mr. Singh, who are you?
So I have a fairly normal background, I think. I was born in Cape Town, but grew up in Johannesburg. I went to high school in Johannesburg, went to WITS to study civil engineering. I studied a postgraduate degree after that while I was working in the engineering industry. But then something very important happened in South Africa in 2017. And my journey of starting business started in that year.
Okay, fantastic. So you grew up in Cape Town. Excuse me, I can imagine you went to a private school, or you went to a school that, you know, gave you exposure. What sort of childhood did you have that really shaped your thinking and shaped your decision making in life? You know, going into your 30s, you're not going to make strong, big decisions. So what sort of background, you know, shaped your thinking while you were growing up?
I think my high school was considered a semi-private, so it had a lot of autonomy, but still was under the government system administratively.
Is it like a Model C, what they used to call Model C school during our time? I don't know, in your time.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I was exposed to everything that one can be exposed to.
Fantastic.
In school.
Yeah.
A lot of that was sustainability talk.
Mm.
I've grown up with it. You know,
Nice.
In fact, I've been learning about it since primary school. So it was very natural for that to become ingrained in my upbringing, my personality.
Yeah.
And then I was allowed to express it later on. You know, when you're growing up and you're learning about all of these things about sustainability, you want to do something, but there's not many options to do something with it.
Sure.
So after I found some autonomy, I managed to create something of my own.
Fantastic. So you're an engineer, and you did a postgrad in what? What else did you study?
I did a postgraduate in engineering, focusing on rural infrastructure development and water management, and then a master's in water management.
Fantastic. So you have a clear understanding of some of these ecosystems of water engineering and how all of these things bring into sustainability. So I wanna get into the conversation of sustainability in terms of when you realize that there was an opportunity to go into a product manufacturing or into creating something that can contribute towards sustainability. How did it come about? Were you maybe sitting and talking to someone, and then this thing hit you as like, I can do this? Or how did you come about with the business idea?
So I suppose you could say it started when I was in grade 2, because in grade 2 I was taken to Rand Water on a field trip, and they told me that in 20 years, if we don't save water, there would be water scarcity issues.
Sure.
Then the 20 years went by, and in 2017, the big drought happened in South Africa. And it was a time we were calling Day Zero in Western Cape.
In Western Cape,
the
yeah, I
water
remember
almost ran
very
out.
well. Yeah.
So I was like, they warned me 20 years ago, and this still happened.
Sure.
And so I was worried that we're not doing what should be done. We're doing a lot, because I was in engineering. I know we're doing a lot of water projects and development, but still the problem happens. So we must be doing something. We must be missing something.
Sure.
So then I decided to, I was busy designing water infrastructure at the time. So I was in the sector. I was aware of what was going on. But I had a very strong calling to solve that problem, because I was worried that it would happen again worse in the future. So I left the country to study a master's degree in water management in Germany. I lived in Germany for 5 months, and then Vietnam for 5 months, and then Jordan for 5 months.
Cheapest.
All part of this master's degree to try and see every aspect of water that there is. I was hoping that by leaving, getting outside the problem, I would be able to find a solution.
Yeah.
And then the solution that I realized that we need to do in South Africa is we need to repair our soil.
Yeah.
The soil, I found, was the most important component of the water cycle. You can imagine that when a raindrop hits the earth, the first point of contact is the soil.
Yes.
So that means that everything that happens downstream is determined by the conditions of the soil. So it means you can build dams, you can save water, but still the most important thing, the fundamental, the thing that multiplies the effects of everything downstream is the soil.
It's the quality of the soil.
But it turns out that in South Africa, 60% of soil is lacking organic matter. And the organic matter is what makes the soil act like a sponge. It holds onto the water and allows it to infiltrate into the groundwater system. So I knew we needed to put that organic matter back into the soil, and then I had to figure out a model of how we're going to do that in South Africa.
Fantastic. So you effectively saying, because the earth is like a sponge, and I've seen a sponge go hard because of the heat. I've seen it clog and no water goes in. So you then say, no, we need to fix that. How did you then start to say there is also a commercial potential that exists in that particular thing? Because now here you see yourself in a space where you are trying to figure out what is it that you need to do, but you see also the commercial value. What went through your mind in terms of creating a possible business opportunity out of problem, solving, coming up with a solution?
When I left South Africa, I didn't intend to start a business when I came back.
Nice.
But because I was so driven to solve the water problem, I knew I had to put the organic matter back in the soil.
Yeah.
But I searched around the world for models which people are doing that already. The most common one was a non-profit model, where somebody creates a compost project, and then people around the community bring their compost, it gets composted, and it goes into the soil. But I found that non-profit models didn't scale beyond local borders.
Yeah,
they were either a small community project that closed down eventually in 1 or 2 years, or they were just a project that didn't leave the defined borders.
Yeah.
But then I found that business models did scale. Some even went international. So I knew that a business model is what we needed to use as a tool, as a mechanism to make this impact.
Exactly.
And then I investigated the different businesses that people are doing. And then I had to compare. That's when I decided, okay, now I must do a business.
Yeah.
But then I had to compare what resource did I have
Mhm.
and my other personal needs, and then figure out a business model that worked for me.
Well,
And then I figured that out.
that's fantastic. So, you know, the biggest thing that many people fail to understand is the fact that you can do good and still earn a profit. And what you've just summarized is now you're highlighting the fact that there are so many ideas that people may have and they want those ideas to scale, but you can't go there with the begging hand and think that idea is going to scale, right? So I see that some of the people have joined us on T-Junction. This is Tabo Makama. We also have individuals that have joined us on the YouTube Live. As you know, we're now streaming also on YouTube Live. If you can check and look for T-Junction, Tabo Makama. And we look forward to engaging and talking to you. So today we are discussing I Compost, which is the kitchen compost, right?
The compost kitchen.
The compost kitchen. So I always swap the two. The compost kitchen. Okay, so you're saying it's a kitchen. It's the compost kitchen. Okay, that's where the cooking happens. All right,
That's
hear
where the
you.
cooking happens, and because I went to study this master's degree, it's actually master's in integrated water resource management.
Okay.
It's a skill that you learn to integrate many models and concepts into one project.
Ah,
So one of them I've always believed in is health. I think that's the most fundamental thing in life.
yeah.
And health comes primarily from the food you eat. And
Yeah,
the food you eat is prepared in the kitchen.
exactly.
So I wanted to combine that concept of health with compost,
Yeah.
where the compost is going to be used to grow organic veg, which
Yeah.
will then nourish you to create good well-being.
So that's where the kitchen comes from.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that analogy. So tell me a little bit about the business model concept that you came up with, right? Because a lot of times when I teach entrepreneurs about the different types of business models that go business to business and business to consumer, what made you think that the business to consumer model is going to work, where the sustainability conversation is really running, is also run by many other corporates as well? I know I have a friend, hopefully he's listening, and he wants to go into waste management and composting, and he works at a corporate level, and he has said, listen, for them, they're not doing much as a corporate, to go into that particular industry and create value. What is your business model?
The business model that we started with, when I realized we need to do this business, we collect food waste from households on a weekly basis. We turn it into something called vermicompost, which is the highest quality compost you can make.
Sure.
Then we give vermicompost back to customers at the end of the month.
So compost, wait, so you're saying compost have got different quality? Yes, like.
And vermicompost is the highest quality because we feed the food waste to earthworms.
Yeah.
The earthworms eat it, and then their feces is a compost.
Ah.
A very rich compost. It's got a bacteria that only exists in the earthworm. And then customers pay 200 Rand a month for that service.
Okay.
And we only do that for B2C, to households.
Okay.
Because when I started, I realized that to get a B2B customer takes several months. Because and to figure out what they want in return, because they maybe not want vermicompost. Like let's say a restaurant, they don't want vermicompost. I don't know what else they want. Maybe they want herbs. But then that sales cycle is extremely long. But I'm now came back from overseas. My bank savings is finished. I've cashed out my retirement fund. So now I need to figure out how to get revenue, not what's the best, biggest business model.
Biggest business model.
What's
and the
the
contract that
fastest
you're going
to
to
get the
wait.
customer?
Okay.
The fastest was my neighbor.
Yeah.
Because they care about the concept already. 200 Rand is not a lot.
Yeah.
And it's something I could get started with immediately.
Fantastic. So are you saying, when determining a business model, you saying that the faster you can gain revenue, it helps with the growth of your business? Is that your reasoning in saying why you go from house to house, or from starting with those that know you? What is then your growth aspiration when it comes to that particular business model that you're applying?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is getting revenue. It's the only answer to all your questions. You can say, will this idea work or not? but the only answer is revenue, if the revenue comes in or not. So I always focus on what's the easiest thing I can do to get revenue. I also needed it personally.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wait to example, get funding to support me while I grow the business, because it would have taken 6 months to get funding, but I got a customer in 1 month. So
and it's an immediate customer, so you could walk up and you say, Lufefe, who's my producer there, it's like, hey, Lufefe, come on, man, have you got kitchen waste? Bananas, he eats bananas and veggies all the time, and he tells me that he's going to enter Mr. South Africa just because he eats all of these things. So, but anyway, we'll debate that in another podcast. So you saying to as shortest reach as possible, it's where you should go to earn your revenue as an entrepreneur or as a person who's starting up as a business.
I think so. And then, you asked about growth. Then we introduced more products and services. Also, verticals. Just quickly revenue, just with the packaging was like just non-existent. We would, for example, a customer would order extra compost.
Yeah.
We would put it in a bucket and then go and offload the bucket at their house. Whereas the concept that I had before that was I need to put it in a bag like you get in the builder's warehouse.
Yes.
But customers don't actually want the bag, they want the compost. So
nice.
I realized that they just want good quality compost, and I sold that. They didn't mind how I delivered it to them. And then as things formalized, and I saw that this is working, that people want this vermicompost, I started bagging it.
Yeah.
And then started putting it in the stores. So, I always tested with the revenue and grew from there. And then, we just introduced more products and services. We grew the collection business,
nice.
the waste management business. And that allowed us to do more innovation.
So I want to get technical now. I see this thing. It looks like it can talk to me. It's got plugs. It's got power. It's got the firmware. This for me shows that you've actually gone and thought about it, right? And on those that are not on YouTube, you can always check it out, and also check online, iCompost or the kitchen compost. Then the compost kitchen.
The compost kitchen.
The compost kitchen. I got it right now.
Oh, iCompost. Yeah, you'll find it both.
So on iCompost, you will see that even when you have a smeg in your kitchen and you put this iCompost next to the smeg, it will look good. You have a DeFi or you have something like that. The durability, the design, the user friendliness, what has gone into this? This for me looks like a seriously well thought out process and product. What has gone into you designing and creating this particular product?
I wanted everyone to get their food waste in the soil, right? But and there's plenty of composting options around already, and people have tried. But
I told you about that one. That other name we're not going to mention. The bucket that stinks.
The stinky bucket. But that's the perception of composting: stinky, smelly, messy. Flies, rats. So if we want to encourage people to compost, we can't say go to the smelly option. We have to provide a clean option that meets their needs. Some people don't mind the smelly and dirty. That's fine.
I mind.
I also would love to grow up in a farm, and I would see it differently then. And also the conditions would be different. But there's a certain population that needs it to be clean, no smell, and it must look good. It mustn't look like a dump in the garden. These are all important concepts that we're generally in sustainability. We're trying to say to everyone, be more sustainable. But we're not providing the options for them to do so. For example, I was in Hanoi last year. I was living there for a while. And I've got this compost business.
Where's Hanoi?
In Vietnam.
In Vietnam. Okay. So like I was wondering, Hanoi, maybe it's in Hanover Park in Cape Town or something.
And I was staying in an apartment there. I have a compost business. I'm well educated. I care about composting. But I was still throwing my food waste in the bin because there was no option for me. There was no garden for me to bury it in anywhere. There was no space on a balcony to do worm bin. I considered all options, So the problem was not me. It was that there was a lack of solutions. And that's what this is. It's a solution. It meets a particular need of a household. It's been very well designed. Only one part of this, or two parts of this, are designed by us.
Yeah.
Which is the air filter.
Okay.
We 3D printed ourselves.
Wow.
Because we wanted to improve a certain component of it,
Mhm.
and an activator that goes inside to make that compost better quality.
What is an activator? What does it do?
It's like a powder that you put in.
Is that the sachets that you show on your video? Okay,
yeah.
so that's the activator. It's like it acts as a catalyst.
Yes.
All right, cool stuff.
Catalyst and a stabilizer. Food waste can be very complicated.
Okay.
So if you just put it in there, it'll come out dry. But if you put it with an activator, it'll come out something that you can put in your soil.
Okay.
The machine itself is designed by a company in Asia.
Okay.
And they are brilliant. They are very good at doing that.
Yeah.
I considered doing it myself, but I just tried to sketch it.
And you came out something that's close to that bucket.
I think it's the worst idea to try and invent something from scratch. So what we did was we partnered with somebody, and we designed one component. Then we work on other components, and eventually we'll take over with some manufacturing ourselves.
Nice.
A new machine, new design.
Yeah.
But to jump straight into that, I think is a very risky business.
So it's a very good, valid point that you put out there to say, if you're coming up with a brilliant idea, you look for partners that can do it better than you.
It's working.
It's working.
There's nothing I need to do to it.
Just like, So you're saying stick to what you know, stick to what you're good at, and then be able to produce what is it that you bring out there. Now, what has been some of the difficulties that you've actually experienced in growing the business and bringing the product into South Africa and distributing the product to different households?
I think in general, starting a business was difficult personally.
Yeah.
Because I thought that the business would go faster than it did and would be able to pay my salary.
Yeah.
But it didn't do that. But then when I realized it's not going to do that anytime soon, I just started another side hustle that brought in revenue, and then I stabilized. But that was the most difficult part, when I had to still deal with personal expenses, personal life, and grow the business. The business.
Did you not feel like giving up a little bit to say, you know what? I know that this idea will work, and I know how this idea is actually going to fly, but I just don't have the capacity, the cash, to take it. What made you want to continue? Did you believe in it so much?
I actually believe in my purpose of fixing the water problem. That's my driver.
Yeah.
If there wasn't a water problem, I would be doing something else.
Nice.
So whenever there was a challenge, I was like, I'm supposed to be doing this. I'll just overcome it.
Yeah.
And I was also looking at Elon Musk's SpaceX and
Yeah.
saying that look how much he can do. He can, whatever problem comes his way, he just solves it.
Yeah.
So whatever problem comes my way, I'll just solve it.
Yeah.
It just takes some thinking, some trial and error, and some mistakes, and then you solve it. You move on. But the business also I designed very lean, meaning very low risk.
Okay.
Low costs, low work for us. Like we don't need to manufacture a machine. That means you need to have a factory.
Exactly. You have less overheads and capex that you put into the business. Yeah.
So that means the business wasn't actually that at risk of financially collapsing. It was always fine,
Yeah.
Some tough months because like February is only 28 days, so customers customers pay in March, so it's a bit tough, but I never reached a point where I wanted to give up.
Fantastic. This is T-Junction. I'm Thabo Makama, and if you're joining us live on YouTube and joining us on Twitter Spaces, we're very thankful. We continue a conversation that we started. T-Junction is really about how can we help entrepreneurs do it better. But in doing it better, we learn from the others, from Mr. Singh here, who's telling us about iCompost and the kitchen compost. That is a business that is commercial, also contributes to the planet, and is able to also support some of these things that create a better livelihood in your different spaces. If you have questions, please by all means tweet the questions, and also you can get in and we can listen to your question. If you can request for speaker, then we can do that on Twitter Spaces. Excuse me. So now we are going to go into a little bit around the market dynamics that you might have done research on, Imka, around the conversation of when you look at the composting market. In fact, my mind was blown away when doing a little bit of research, looking at this business and saying the business of composting that fits into the value chain of farming and agriculture and agri-technology? Because this for me is like, dude, it contributes into a bigger sense, because whatever you do here, you can multiply, you can scale up, you can actually grow it into a mega composting space. How big is this market? How big is this market? To what extent do you think there's opportunities in the composting and agriculture value chain, looking at and zeroing in into composting? Because my mind was blown up, you talking about different types of compost, levels, or even qualities of composting. How big is this market? Is there many opportunities? Is there many things that people could do out of here? I thought, compost, we used to think is manure, and this is not manure. This is real compost, things that come out of nature. How big is the market?
I think the best way to answer that is to say that in our first year, our revenue was 65,000 rand. In our last year, it was 3 million.
Cheapest.
And so, I don't know.
In how many years? So that
4.
In 4 years, that
it grew about 5 times.
Fivefold, yeah.
And I don't know, to be honest, the market size, because I could never access that information, and maybe it's not that well known. There is a lot of data in Western Cape, so it's like a few 100 million rand in
just in the Western Cape.
Because Western Cape, they've got an organic waste to landfill ban. It says that you can't throw food waste in the landfill anymore. And a similar ban came for garden waste many years ago.
Yeah.
And then thousands of entrepreneurs started to take the garden waste to composting sites.
Yeah, I've seen those.
So it's estimated there's a few 100 million rand value of the composting industry or food waste industry in Western Cape. But I always say, try to get the first 100 rand,
Yeah.
It'll grow from there.
Uh-huh.
So this machine alone, we did about 2 million in the past year, which is the first machine in South Africa. My challenge was to know how big the market is, because I couldn't know if I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
In America, I could see that Canada, a company raised 94 million rand on a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Pre-order campaign, and they sold 20,000. So I was like, this has a lot of potential.
It's got a big,
not the same machine, but same concept. So I was like, okay, the world wants this.
Yeah.
I just need to figure out how am I going to sell it in South Africa.
Yeah.
I didn't worry too much if what's the market size. Actually, I did all those calculations. Told me there's 1 million wealthy people, wealthy households.
And you're thinking all of the million people need an iCompost in their house. It's like, are you wealthy? Get an iCompost.
Yeah.
Nice one.
But I knew that I knew that people were looking for something like this.
Yeah.
And that I had the sales skill to get it to them. And then I just figured out how to do that.
I mean, if you think about it, a lot of these developed household spaces, your estates, suburbs, who's your typical client?
That's the most valuable information I have.
Okay, perfect.
Is how I reach my customer. I understand them so well.
Wow. Yeah.
I understand how they think, what they do in their house. It's very important. But because I grew up with them, my customers are my neighbors.
Yeah.
And I've stuck to that customer group, so I know very well how to reach.
So as you expand on the customer group, what are some of the things and dynamics that you are, having to battle in introducing it to new people? Because now I'm a new client. I'm going to be buying this. I already have a bag of compost that I'm taking home, but I'm going to be buying this because I just told you about my bucket system, not the one the government does, right? But my bucket, and I throw things in there, but still, it just leaves flies around, and now it's hot, and you see a lot of flies. You see rats, and stuff. So this for me works wonders. How are you then looking at expanding into markets that are beyond your typical people that and people that are going to be buying because they know you? What are some of the tactics that you've utilized in the past year or so to figure that out?
That's a challenge that I'm facing at the moment. Is this machine is very expensive. because to manufacture it is very expensive because they don't have the volumes there yet. The factory means that the unit cost is higher.
Yeah, it's higher.
So we have to sell it also at a high price, so we can make a little bit of profit. But that's not affordable to most South Africans.
How much is one machine, if ever? I know the T-Junctioners will definitely start looking into it, and those that are interested, we will definitely be leaving conversations and contact details of Himka so that you can access this. I think it was 6,500 per unit.
6,500, yeah.
Fantastic.
And so to bring down the price, we either need to manufacture it here, or we need to wait several years for the price of the factory to come down. But we also think there could be another way to manufacture something similar.
Yeah.
For example, what we're working on this year is a model to take old, what's called tumble dryers.
Yeah.
You know those machine you put your clothes in, it spins around.
The top loader or the front loader?
I don't know too much about them, to be honest. But that's the challenge, actually. We want to take the machines, turn them into compost machines, the ones that are like broken.
Yeah, yeah.
But the problem is each one is different.
Yeah, different model, different maker.
So I don't know how to scale
the specs
it.
are different.
I don't know how to make a supply manufacturing line of these tumble dryers.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think the model is brilliant. I think we can make it low cost. We can take a higher volume, so people can start setting up like compost laundromats.
Yeah.
People bring the food waste from the community, make compost, and those guys sell the compost. So there's a lot of opportunity in the idea, but a lot of challenges that I haven't been able to.
Are you looking at broadening the spec to an extent where you can say you'll partner with other entrepreneurs that come up with brilliant ideas? I mean, your focus is very niche market that you are servicing. What are some of the things that you think could become opportunities for individuals that say, look, I'm in the estate management space, I'm a facility manager, I am doing things in the property space. Do you see yourself partnering with those individuals to create those composting laundromats or something to that equivalent? What's your thinking space around that piece?
My hope in the future is to partner with small businesses in townships.
Okay.
Because they can actually be very good at production.
Yeah.
So if we put these laundromats there, give them solar panels, or even power them with biogas. And then we set up a system to bring food waste from where it's produced to the township entrepreneurs. Then take that from there to either back into the urban areas or to the farms.
Yeah.
That's the model I think is best for South Africa.
Yeah.
But it's a business model that I'm not familiar with. I haven't worked with the township.
Okay.
And so I will need partners there. But also at the moment, we do have a lot of partners in a similar market as us.
Yeah.
And future partners will likely have to be people who are already doing something. They already got a product or service that will complement us, and we will complement them. It's unlikely to be people with ideas. Because it's just it's a lot of work to partner with a new idea.
Yeah.
Even just to manufacture this air filter here.
Yeah.
With 3D printing is.
Can you show me the air filter? It's like
This was actually just a prototype.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Oh, she's like, this is slick, man.
Yeah, 3D printed, but it was a mission to 3D print. So any new idea, it's a massive undertaking.
Sure.
So we'll only typically partner with established businesses.
Yeah. So let me not break it. I'm prone to breaking things. I'm always pressing hard or doing this and that.
We designed well.
See, I like the confidence. It's designed well so it can withstand people like me, clumsies. I saw the Smurfs. I'm the clumsy Smurf. I'm not the intelligent or the strong one. I'm the clumsy one. Next thing I drop this thing here. But one of the things that we talk about is the ability to expand the whole business beyond South Africa, right? What do you think is a prospect for iCompost to go into the rest of the continent? Do you see it as something that you would want to expand to? Let's say you get South Africa right, and then you get other countries as well, because I believe there's a market there. Have you ever thought about that?
We're already getting requests for the iCompost in UK, Poland, Dubai, I think Nigeria, Mauritius. So there's a lot of opportunity for it.
Nice.
But I'll tell you very honestly, last year I had a very tough year personally.
Yeah.
And so this year I'm actually trying to take it easy, because the undertaking to go
grow.
international from here is massive.
Yeah.
And it won't contribute to my well-being this year.
Nice.
The business will be much better off, but I won't be more happier. So I'm
That's very matured, man. That's very matured.
My business decisions are now weighted by my personal feeling, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just enjoying this year a lot because everything's going well. The iCompost, the collection business, I don't need to do much in it.
Yeah.
I only work 3 hours a day on the business.
Nice.
And because I've got staff operating everything.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to keep doing that for this year.
Nice.
I know the potential is there, and more ambitious people will take it. But to me, what's very important is my feeling of life.
Yeah.
I want to feel good every day, feel happy, wake up easily, go to sleep easily.
You wrote about that on LinkedIn, one of the posts that
Very
I read,
important.
that you said you found that at your lowest, your business is also doing the lowest. And I must say, you know, mental health is one of the most important things to look at. And I have also found myself in, you know, when I'm under the weather or things are not going well at home or something, I don't have the energy to just really pump and get the energy. When I'm happy, ideas flow and stuff. How do you manage that? When did you realize? I mean, you know, 30 under 30, you know, maybe people might think, no, you are young, you have energy. How important is mental health for any entrepreneur or a person who owns a business to be intact?
I think that's like the water issues. You fix the soil, and you fix everything downstream.
Yeah.
Everything downstream gets affected by your actions at the soil. So it's the same with health, I think. Is if you one day, if I'm hungry, I get irritable.
Yeah.
And that tells you if your health is not in its optimum state, it's gonna filter down into everything you do, your work, your family, business decisions. So I spend most of my time actually taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And that realization started when I started yoga several years ago.
Nice.
Things just started opening up after that.
Yeah.
The decision to leave the country to study a master's in water overseas was illogical because I had a great career in engineering, great salary, great life. But my feeling was so strongly opened up by yoga that I knew I had to go. And that I didn't know all of this would come out of it,
Nice.
But it's all working as it should. It's field.
So exercise is like the bigger thing. I mean, I always tell people that I start work around 10:30 or 11 because my morning is really to drop off my kids and also exercise. And exercise has really changed how I think as well, But the energy of think that you put in is also important. When you are healthy, you think very clear. And, when you're lethargic, then you really half think, as I would put it. Now, there's some questions that have really come up here from some of the audience that have brought it out. Thank you. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Thabo Makama and this is T-Junction. Today we are with Himka Singh, 30 under 30 Forbes Africa, my man. So we're dealing with people that are very, 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 very famous here and people that are doing amazing things. As you've heard, the business has grown 5-fold from where he started. And with a vision and an understanding to want to do more for sustainability, he has been able to do that. Now, here's a question. There's questions here that have come. Lebza is my other right-hand man who's doing a great job getting us these questions coming in. Thanks, Lebza. The first one is, what measures have you taken to reduce the potential for contamination of compost? And then the second question, should I ask all of them or do you want to take one by one?
One by one.
Okay, one by one would work. So the first question is that, what measures have you taken into account to reduce the potential for contamination of composting?
I think what the viewer is, when they talk about contamination, is because, when we think about, let's say, food waste, we think that is the contamination of other recycling, like it messes cardboard, messes other stuff that you want to take, right? But in our case, bottles, glass, and other wrappings, sweet wrappings, contaminate our compost.
Oh, okay.
It contaminates the food waste.
Yeah.
And so I think the viewer is asking, how do we make sure that our customers don't give us that contaminated waste?
Yeah.
And I found that actually they get it. once they've signed up, they get the whole process. They're at the level, the education level, where we don't need to teach them anything.
Yeah.
We just need to provide.
Do you
service.
actually educate them? Do you actually
No.
go to their homes and say, this is the type of waste? Don't put in your fish oil. Don't put this food with fat and stuff. Do they get that? Do you have a guideline that you provide to them in terms of the type of food that you want to compost?
And luckily, we're quite flexible with all the food waste. So we can
Oh.
take any kind of food waste, chicken, bones,
What?
rotten banana. And so what we need, we just put on the bin is a sticker of what can go and can't go.
Yeah.
And what generally can't go is just liquids
Yeah.
and packaging. So, and then we have a very good communication channel. So if customers do have questions, they just ask us quickly. We answer quickly. It's because they're at that moment where they've got some hair. They've just cut their hair. They want to know if we can compost it. And you want to answer quickly so that they don't put it in the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And so we do that, and then they can put hair.
So it's a good education comes with that. So the second question is, what measures have you taken to reduce the potential of wait, no, I think it's double. So how do you monitor the composting process?
The composting process is done by a partner who are
Okay.
very, very good at composting. We've been doing it for decades.
Okay.
And so we don't have our own compost facility. We
Uh-huh.
partner, like we talked earlier, it's better to partner with
better to
people
partner, yeah.
rather than do everything yourself. What we're good at is logistics.
Uh-huh.
We built our own apps to manage how do we go to 350 houses
Sure.
one by one in an optimal way,
Uh-huh.
and do extra notes like what if they ordered compost and we need to deliver compost. So we built a system. We're very good at that,
Mhm.
but a partner makes the compost. They monitor it by I think maybe the experience, they're just so good at it. But what happens in that compost process, it gets composted in large piles.
Yeah.
In the large piles, it gets very hot and it breaks down more.
Mhm.
And they also turn it to aerate it, bring in oxygen.
Yeah.
And they water it.
Mhm.
So they have a very good formula of how they do that.
Yeah.
And then we take that compost and we feed it to our earthworms for further maturing.
Uh-huh.
Then our earthworms make the vermicompost.
Yeah.
And that we monitor with just general checking the moisture, because moisture and air and temperature. We just have a small scale that can do that.
Uh-huh.
Worms are these worms that we use are relatively flexible.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. I was about to figure out, like, worms are flexible. Mhm. They are. Yes, indeed they are. Yeah.
They don't give me awards for nothing.
You see what I'm talking about? Yeah. Cool. And you were on the thought of saying you are able to monitor these flexible worms. What do you mean by them being flexible?
Well, we can keep them outdoors. We don't need to take care of them much.
Okay.
Whereas other worms, you need to keep them indoors in trays. You need to feed them on this day for this long.
What?
Then take the food out for
worms.
Yeah. So some others do that.
It's like a worm with musters.
I think they do that because you can optimize your production.
Yeah.
It's like a production line.
Nice.
But because I was always looking for the easiest way, I went for the easiest worm.
Mm-hmm.
It also happens to be the best worm for quality.
Yeah.
That's why we use it. But generally that process the composting process is actually very difficult. So we didn't want to start there.
Mm-hmm.
Later, maybe we will have our own compost.
Is it sustainable? Because the follow-up question to that question is it sustainable, the process that you're putting in place for composting?
It's absolutely sustainable because our business is funded by revenue.
Yeah.
So we haven't had any funding in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So that means we're stable according to if we keep the customers happy.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we do that, we will be sustainable financially.
Yeah.
And then sustainable in terms of environment, yes, we've done the calculations. Although we're using a vehicle to collect from households, actually I need to explain some science about food waste.
Please, yeah.
I'm gonna do some maths because I'm an engineer. If you buy a bunch of bananas from Woolworths, it costs about 33 Rand. And 1/3 of that bunch of bananas is peels. That means you're paying about 11 Rand for peels.
Cheap.
And when you put the peel in the bin, in the garbage,
Yeah.
it goes to the landfill.
Mhm.
The landfill gets covered by a lot of junk.
Mhm.
And you know, banana peel is biodegradable, right?
Yeah.
But because it's covered by junk, it biodegrades in an anaerobic method,
Mhm.
meaning no oxygen.
Yeah.
And in that method, it releases methane, which is a very
Sure.
strong greenhouse
Very
gas.
strong greenhouse gas. Yeah.
So we're paying 11 Rand every week to increase climate change. And so what we need to be doing is we need to be putting the banana peel in the compost.
Yeah.
We can't avoid the banana peel. We'll always need it.
Mhm.
It's got its purpose. But we can get back value from the 11 Rand by making compost.
Yeah.
And using it in our soil again.
Wow.
The original question was about sustainability.
The sustainability.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're offsetting. We're not now producing that methane.
Yeah.
But we are producing carbon dioxide because we're using fuel to collect.
Mhm.
But it offsets it.
Okay.
It's still better off.
So there's a way it balances out
Yeah.
when you look at the calculations.
Yes.
If you thought about partnering with someone who is in the electric collection motorbike or something like that.
Actually, that's how we started. I used to, because when we started, my customers were very sparse.
Yeah.
So it would be very inefficient for me to use a vehicle to go door to door.
Mm-hmm.
So I designed a bike. I designed a bike trailer.
Okay.
It's a wooden trailer that I built.
Yeah.
Old recycled bicycle wheels, and I connected that to my e-bike.
Oh.
Which is a bike that has pedals and a motor.
And a motor, yeah.
Then I used to go house to house with that bike and collect the waste.
Wow.
It's a brilliant model.
Yeah.
But then we outgrew the bike, and I needed to use a vehicle.
Yeah.
But I still believe we still use it on just our road because it's a lot of fun for Tim.
And I think it's got a sentimental value to it. Just like this is where you started. I think one day then you put it in the factory and you just put it out there as something. I mean, I know Fezile and Faisal, who run the electric scooter, company, and they're producing multiple scooters for last mile delivery and collection. So it could be some potential partnership that you work with them there, and that in itself could do a big carbon offsetting, calculation that you look at, and I'm sure you guys are all engineers. They can come up with some brilliant solutions there. So that those are the questions that came from the listeners. Now, your business seems to have a two-pronged revenue model, right? Tell me a little bit about that. It's the product revenue stream and the logistics revenue stream. That's clever. That's like absolutely amazing. When did you figure out that you had to split the revenue lines? And has it always been split? Maybe you started like that, or how did you start? Was it always one single revenue or dual revenue stream?
I would say actually it's four. There's two I haven't mentioned. The first one is the collection fee, subscription fee. That's how we started. That was the only revenue that came in the business.
Yeah. Second
revenue stream is additional products and services.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important because I found that most recycling companies in South Africa, they rely only on the subscription fee.
Yeah.
But the price changes so rapidly that they're not able to increase their collection fee at the same rate. So eventually, they really struggle.
Yeah.
But if you sell additional products and services to your customers, then while you're going there, you're going there to collect their banana peels, deliver something as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it boosts your revenue.
Nice.
And the third one is that we launched the compost machine. So it wasn't intentional that we split the revenue. It came about because we are having a lot of customers request our services around the country.
Yeah.
But just go everywhere and set up a compost
possible.
operation is difficult.
Yeah.
But a machine like this solves the problem. We just ship it to them. They can do the composting.
Uh-huh.
But also because I realized that, in the food waste collection, food waste is 90% water.
Mm.
Like a grape is 90% water, right?
That's it.
And so we're actually trucking around water through the city. We're doing the same with plastic. Plastic is like air.
Yeah.
We're trucking around air. So to me, the waste system didn't make sense.
Mm.
And I was imagining, let's say, 1,000 years from now, what's the civilization going to be doing with their waste? I thought it was unlikely to be more of a system that we're doing now, but more of a system where we're using technology in the household or the source of the waste. It gets turned into a valuable product there, and then from there, it goes straight to the next value addition point. not right to the bottom of the value chain.
Well,
And so that's why we launched that. So it
Mhm.
wasn't intentional. That
so you're actually empowering the household to come up with their own waste and use it in their garden without. So it's actually an investment. You could calculate how many bags this can produce, or have you done some calculations to say if a person is consistent on a regular basis, how frequent can they compost? How long does it take? Do you have those numbers?
This takes 5 hours. You put the food waste in.
What?
5 hours later, it comes out as compost. We did a calculation of does the compost pay back the machine?
Yeah.
It doesn't yet because the machine's very expensive still.
Uh-huh.
Compost is quite cheap.
Okay.
And also that compost is quite low quality because we have such
Because
high
this doesn't
convenience.
have this doesn't have worms.
It doesn't have one. Yeah.
The flexible guys are not there, so that's why it's
We-
not at the level, but it still fits the purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
It meets the customer's need. They want to make sure their food waste goes into the soil.
Uh-huh.
The compost, we have to accept a lower quality because we're taking such a high convenience.
Yeah.
There's a trade-off.
There's a trade-off. Yeah.
But
You
the
can't get
customer
everything.
just wants the food waste to get into the soil.
Yeah.
These are important things to understand about the customer.
So
Otherwise-
once the compost in 5 hours is able to, reach a certain standard, you then can take it into the soil and put it into your garden. It's not gonna have any adverse effect on your garden. It's actually going to boost your garden fertility.
Yeah, you take it out of here while it's still warm and like smelling like bread. You put it in the soil and it'll boost your soil.
Just like people will end up eating that compost. Smells nice, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth revenue stream is the activator that we sell as a consumable.
Oh yeah, that's the session.
Yeah. So it's mainly those four.
Fantastic. So you've been able to then create a business with multiple revenue stream, reaches a sustainability goal, is able to work with partners, and you are also offsetting a lot of carbon emission that could have gone into the ozone. What else does what are some of the things that the compost kitchen or the kitchen compost? Which one is it?
The compost kitchen.
The compost kitchen. Yeah. CK. Okay. Yeah, the compost kitchen. What else does it achieve as a business, which you think it's a strong value proposition that you're bringing to the individuals? Because I think people that are earth lovers and who are doing a lot to give back to the planet are definitely sold at what your product does. But there are also other guys who are commercially minded and also value minded. What else do you bring to the table that really makes the product to be totally unique? It is absolutely unique, I can tell you. It meets the need. It really sets itself apart from many of these things. But what else is there in the compost kitchen?
Yeah, at the beginning you mentioned that profit can be for good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when I started because I always had the perception that profit was causing the problems.
Mm-hmm. Not all capitalists are bad, so yeah.
And that non-profit's job is to solve the problems.
Exactly.
To fix everything.
Yeah.
But then I realized that the business, every second we spend on it is better off for society.
Yeah.
The more customers we get, the better off society is.
Mm-hmm.
That means we're an impact business.
Uh-huh.
We don't make money and then do charity on the side to offset our non-lack of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we do is directed at making that impact. So I believe we need more businesses like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people who care about similar issues.
Yeah.
You don't have to care about compost. You can care about
the earth.
Something else.
Yeah.
Bottles or plastic in the ocean.
Mm.
But then people go and join non-profits.
Oh.
They go and start community projects.
Yeah.
I am saying that a business is a model that we should be pursuing if we want to make impact.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that because you're making profit that you're destroying the world.
Yeah.
It's only the way you do it that's
Nice.
important.
I hear you.
So we have very high values in this business,
Mm-hmm.
and that means we can't even take shortcuts. But
Yeah.
once we do, a customer will see it and they won't use us. So we have to do the right things.
Wow. So I think your point is so amazing. When you start thinking about people that say they want to do good, then the first thing they do is like, no, let's establish a NGO, let's do a PBO. And you saying no, start thinking commercially, and as a solution to create impact businesses, then in that way you'd have a much bigger motivation to want to do it on a daily basis, unlike, going with the open hand and say, only if you give me grants, if you give me donation, then I'll be able to do that. So do you do any work with communities, giving information, sharing tips with the people, youth, and all that? Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, actually, I used to go around to preschools and townships and teach people about composting. I used to take worms. I used to explain how the banana peel becomes compost. And then, people typically got it very quickly.
Nice.
It's like intuitive that a banana peel doesn't belong in the bin.
Yeah.
But only people lack the technology, know how to compost it.
Mm-hmm.
Once I explained it to them, they get it, they take home worms and they start composting at home.
Yeah.
I've had to pause that during COVID because of obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But now we're looking to resume it, but because we're so busy, I don't have the time, so I have to hire somebody
as well
to go around and do that. So we're looking for corporate to sponsor something like that.
Nice. So that's the nice angle of CSI that you're bringing in, or the NPO that you initially thought about. Now it fits in because there's an element of education and an element of community development that comes with it. I totally love it. So this is Thabo Makama on T-Junction, and we've had a good time that we spent here with Himka Singh. Can you believe an hour has really gone past? Oh. We always talk about, good conversations seem to be quick, but I can tell you that we've really enjoyed having a conversation with Himka in educating us about the different types of, application in the business model. And you said you've actually shared your business model in the MBA classes. And what has been the response like?
Yeah, I get invited to use our business as case study. Because there's very few case studies in the world of sustainability being done by business.
Yeah.
Not as a side project, but actual business, and succeeding for 4 years.
Yeah.
And so they invite me to present my case study. They often ask questions about it, and they advise me on the business. So
it's like free consultation.
Free consultation.
Yes, like when we're brainy brains and you're not business trained.
I listen to people though who are business trained.
Nice.
I rarely give it much consideration. I just do what they tell me because they will rarely tell me something that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's something they tell me it because they believe in it, because they've had some experience.
Nice.
I just do it.
Yeah, that's nice. Now, we always ask people, in order for them to succeed, they have a certain ethos or values that they apply in their business and in their day-to-day. You touched a little bit on looking after your health as one of the most critical things. The last question we always ask people is this one: what is your secret sauce to succeeding and making iCompost and the Compost Kitchen work? What's your secret sauce if someone would ask you?
Secret sauce. I think that I listen quite well. I'm quite humble in my approach, and so when people advise me, I just listen.
Yeah.
My ego could be much higher because of my background, my qualifications.
And your qualifications. And
it'll tell me
I'm
so high now, I mustn't listen to other people who haven't done it before. But actually, I just listen. And usually the right answer comes its own way.
Yeah.
So I'm just maintain some kind of humility, and then everything seems to be going well. But I also don't think that everyone needs to be that way.
Yeah.
Everybody can be the way they are and still figure it out.
Yeah.
You can imagine that if you think of whatever personality you are, there's somebody in the world who has become a success that has the same personality as you.
Yeah.
So only key is to accept how you are and understand how you are, and then just work with your strengths and weaknesses.
Nice. So don't try and be somebody else, but harness what you have and harness who you are. Himka, thanks a lot, my brother. I really appreciate you and appreciate the knowledge you've shared with us. As we always tell people who join T-Junction, this is a family, this is an organization, this is a space that we create free IP for people to know what is it that they can do, how they can grow their businesses, how they can grow themselves. We've spoken to many professionals, we've spoken to individuals such as Himka, who really have a vision and stick to the vision and stick to how they really bring it out. And for me, I think it's very, very much an honor for me to meet with you, a young man who is doing some amazing things. Forbes Forbes Africa 30 under 30, and I think it's well deserved. If I look at the way you've designed your product, the way you carry out your business model, your understanding of business to the most simplest thing. I always tell people, if you want to run a business and you can't explain it to your grandma, don't do it, right? And you've highlighted to us how important it is to just drive conversation around revenue. The thing closest to, at arm's length, and you can generate revenue, do it, because that's how you're going to start and grow your businesses. So I'm very much grateful. And this is Thabo Makama, your host. And I see those that have been able to join us on YouTube Live and those that have been able to join us on T-Junction. We have been away for some time, and now we're back, and we're looking forward to more sessions that are going to come up. And as you know, we are going to be also posting these podcasts on, if I forgot, what do you call that thing? On what? Spotify, not Simplify, on Spotify. Sorry. So we're going to be doing posting on Spotify. We'll have the edited version for you to be able to access it. And look out for Himka Singh on LinkedIn. He's not on Twitter. And any other social spaces that you're on? Facebook?
Just LinkedIn.
Just LinkedIn. Yeah. So this is a professional man, He's only on LinkedIn and focusing on the business. And as we've learned from him, it's always good to keep simple things and put things in perspective where you want to have control. This is Thabo Makama, and I am going to log out now and thank everybody who's been able to join. This is T-Junction. We know we do it every Monday, either on a recording or on a live session. And today we're doing a live session. I'm very grateful. Himka, thank you very much, my man. Cheers for now for everybody.